Welcome to this EDUcast, SBC Security, Risks and Opportunities for Carriers and MSPs. I'm Gary Audin, and with me today is Mike Cebulski, Director of Channel Development at Virsae. Our agenda today deals with the challenges of SIP and session border controllers. What are their problems? How do you resolve those problems? SBC Security in specific terms, Virsae's service management package and how it fits into your service organization, and revenue streams and opportunities that you may not have considered in the past. So let's start off with the first question. There are challenges, all right? However, one of the challenges is that it takes 4 people who are full-time employees to fill one position 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, something most SMBs can't even deal with, and most enterprises have trouble filling. What other challenges do you also see, Mike?
Yeah, Gary, so what we have seen is that in the enterprise space, they usually have multiple locations that contain multiple vendors, which in turn makes it difficult to manage each carrier, each local loop, and they all have different NOCs. So some of these businesses have staff to manage their systems 24/7, but many only cover 5x12, and in most cases try to have someone on call internally. In the SMB space, these companies are usually without in-house staff. The systems are managed by an owner or a business manager, usually without any kind of telecom knowledge. And just like the enterprise side, they have issues trying to manage their systems 24/7.
Why are SIP and SBC central to unified communications? Because a lot of people are on UC today, but yet the service isn't always working well. And I found in one of my cases, about 90% of the people don't even report the problems they're having with UC.
You're right. So Gary, in today's UC world, SIPs become the leader over traditional physical phone lines or the PRIs. SIPs projected to reach 30 billion in revenue by 2027, which is up from the 13 billion or so at the end of 2019. They have QoS, they're scalable, they're less costly, and they can provide business continuity. SIP can be thought of as a call manager. It takes into account the parameters of a call like location, availability, usable technology to manage the session. It is independent of the actual transport layers of the call that ride beneath it, making it an extremely powerful and useful tool for virtually all types of unified communication sessions. The SBCs will help boost security by using its QoS rules to identify incoming threats, such as a digital denial of service or a DDoS attack. It also offers deep packet inspection, policy enforcement, and other security functions, providing more control than an application layer firewall would.
Yeah, I noticed on this picture here, you have Microsoft Teams, and a lot of people forget that you have to manage that as well as everything else.
That is correct.
So moving onward, what do you mean that there are technologies diversities in unified communications?
So SIP and SBCs are a necessity in modern UC architecture. So all the main players now provide these components as part of their product or service portfolios. Some have developed the teaching and the technology themselves. Others have gained it via acquisition. The key thing about the SIP protocol itself, while there are a lot of players and different offers, the protocol is universal and they ultimately all speak the same language. So this is where Virsae has targeted our offer, collecting and analyzing complex SIP and SBC issues at multiple levels across diverse technology. We do this securely with both cloud and the traditional on-premise UC elements. It's automatic, so it eliminates manual data collecting, which in turn will make for an immediate real-time solution that ultimately drives customer success.
Now let's talk about resolving the problems. And one of the issues I see is you can have so many problems, your people get overwhelmed, and you need more than just somebody sitting at a screen. How do customers resolve these problems?
Yeah, Gary, so they can do it the old way, contact their network supplier, let them know they're having call issues such as drop calls or one-way audio, noise, or choppy voice or echo. And we know that the carrier will then tell them that they need to call their UC vendor because they see no issues on their end. which will make for a he said, she said scenario. And trust me, this happens daily in the UC world. Or they can use a system that will have visibility into their SIP, SBC, and network, which will allow for problems to be recognized immediately and or be alerted before a problem might even occur by automating with smart analytics. In a large enterprise, they could have large files with tens of thousands of SIP sessions. So VSM can automatically review the data, trace the session, and store that information for 13 months and then some. So this can help by eliminating labor-intensive research, increase accuracy, and bring speed to identifying and repairing the issue, or at least recognizing where the issue is and providing a mean time to innocence back to the UC provider and or carrier.
You said something there that I hadn't considered. You're really talking also about the history of your problems, and you can learn a lot more from your history than just simply what you see at the screen at one time. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, moving to the next slide, we have two terms, flag and tag. What does that mean?
Yeah, so it's not flag football. So when an issue is reported, one of the key challenges faced by service desks is to identify the troublesome session. There can be literally, like I said, tens of thousands of sessions, and finding the right one can be like finding a needle in the haystack. It's made even worse if the session has transitioned through multiple SIP proxies. So even if the service desk has access to great information, and it's very time consuming to narrow in on the right data. So Virsae has come up with a way to tie customer feedback directly to the session. For example, you mentioned Teams. So VSM uses Teams post-call feedback form to join the customer feedback directly to the SIP session. So if a customer completes the form with just a few mouse clicks, the call is flagged to the service desk with all the information required for troubleshooting already attached.
We mentioned security earlier on, and that's another issue. Can you talk about the statistics relating to security in this environment?
Yeah, Gary, security has been a problem for years, but with COVID, the attacks have never been worse. I'll give you some stats. 2020, the FBI received more than 2,000 internet crime complaints per day. The healthcare industry is expected to spend about $125 billion on cybersecurity from 2021 to 2025. There was a 239% surge in cyber attacks against banks, so no industry is safe. There was an increase of SBC attacks by 177 times in 2021 over the same period the previous year, which accounted for $38 billion in annual costs of toll fraud. And yet most carriers and MSPs will still do nothing or little to nothing in regards to securing their SBCs. Matter of fact, I feel comfortable in saying that if you were to look at most SBC logs at any enterprise or telecom company, there's a 100% chance that someone's trying to hack into their system as we speak. So in fact, Virsae customers saw over 1 billion invites from suspect parties over the last 8 months of 2021, and those invites continue to grow today.
Now, you've been talking about security and protection, but how do you maintain security in this environment?
Yeah, so in regards to the SBC side of that, beyond just the invalid registration attempts, an SBC log will shine light on many more irregularities. These include SIP user agent types not supported by their enterprise, or IP addresses from very questionable locations, malformed SIP packets, the DDoS attacks, unsupported codecs, or unencrypted media or SIP signaling. So knowing the methodologies that these hackers are employing is vital to stopping their attacks. So while those SBC log files are an essential part of the problem discovery, they aren't nearly enough. And so unfortunately, SBC logs are only as good as what the SBC vendor puts in them. You can't see messages that weren't logged. So also every SBC allows an administrator to set log levels to control how much is captured. The highest, most complete log levels create enormous files that makes finding problems more complicated. So VSM Security Manager helps protect against the cyber attacks from the SIP-related hacker intrusion, bandwidth abuse, toll fraud, service hijacking, and DDoS attacks. So what we do is we provide real-time threat awareness with automated workflows and third-party integration, and then we apply smart analytics to thousands of data points across a great number of UC and CC related technologies.
You've used the acronym VSM. What is VSM and where does Virsae fit into this?
So Virsae Service Management, VSM, it's a market-driven, innovative service that it cohesively delivers proactive management across multi-vendor communication applications. VSM has been specifically developed to meet the needs of customers using those applications and the communication service providers, the MSPs that support them. The service is designed to be highly flexible and requires no infrastructure. So that allows service providers and users to leverage VSM without any capital outlay. And it also complements the existing support offerings as a straightforward management overlay. It was built on the Information Technology Infrastructure Library, so the ITIL, which we believe is the industry recognized best practice IT service management framework. It was built in the cloud. We host it with Microsoft Azure and is delivered via either API or web browser. So Virsae processes billions of pieces of data in the cloud every month using microservices to manage storage and provide the sharing necessary for gaining insight on a global scale. So this means that VSM users benefit from the collective experience gained across all supported environments. And under a DevOps framework, new features, enhancements, additional reports are made. We make them available on a 2-week sprint cycle, and that's made possible by our own development team that's housed in New Zealand.
We're talking about service organizations and MSPs, and they've been break, fix, and installation and configuration companies. How does this service that you're talking about fit into their organization?
Yeah, so it's a great question. So by embedding VSM into the MSP, we're able to transform the way service management is delivered to their UC and their contact center customers. So VSM, we simplify the management of the complex systems and bring new levels of clarity to the real-time performance of their applications, providing those MSPs with the visibility to minimize risk, manage the costs, and perform at their absolute best for their end customers. So MSPs can plan, design, and prepare RFPs accurately and timely by using VSM. They can deploy, install, and customize easily while managing quality assurance throughout the process. They'll have tools to help assess remote workers, keeping their customers' UC and CC platforms optimized in what we call the new normal. And they'll be able to show ROI through either CX analysis, service updates, some of the reporting they can do, system health checks, and really they can do root cause analysis for their customers. So overall, VSM inserted into an MSP's service organization allows them to make data-driven decisions for their customers.
That's great, but let's talk about the revenue streams, which is really what's important to these providers.
Making money. So MSPs, they've shared some information with us that over 50% of their total revenue comes from recurring managed services. So while there's always going to be those one-time, some project-based work, the contracted recurring revenue model continues to be their push for growth. However, the size of their contracts is an issue. 60% of their contracts are less than $15,000 per year. So larger contracts do exist as these MSPs try to go up market, but the bulk are smaller in nature. So if you're an MSP serving bigger businesses or providing specialized co-managed services, that might significantly increase what they make per contract. So here's an opportunity to drive new revenue into their existing base and a selling point to go after new logos by utilizing VSM automated anomaly detection, which is built into VSM Security Manager. And it's a tool that can help them mitigate risk and drive premium service value. So now an MSP can drive additional revenue, that recurring revenue, by gaining real-time threat awareness, act quickly to prevent intrusion and flag suspicious behavior, and alert unauthorized activity within their customer's business.
When I look at this picture here, you talk about premium service, but really you're showing me end-to-end the entire process, which a lot of services can't do.
That's correct. So as I previously stated, COVID has really increased cyber attacks, but it's also changed the way companies manage their customers with the increase in work from home employees, and that's made the customer experience a difficult one to maintain and improve. So using VSM will result in a next gen customer experience that will seamlessly connect the physical and digital worlds across the customer journey. So this in turn will bolster an MSP's ability to maximize recurring revenue while building, hopefully, long-term relationships by providing a premium service where they will now have technical analytics, work from home analytics, room analytics, giving them the sought after insight and information to allow for a quick response and a solution which will differentiate them from their competitors.
So let's continue to look at the revenue opportunities.
So there's a report by ABI Research that states the telco cloud revenue will reach 29 billion by 2025, and in 2020 that revenue was at 8.7 billion. So as carriers move away from the traditional legacy services and into a hybrid or a full cloud offering, the cost to upgrade their networks and equipment has also grown. So as they've rolled out their upgrades and changes, they've reduced their revenue by charging less for their services. This in turn has made the industry highly competitive. It's caused an uptick in customer churn. So to help offset those reductions, carriers are in need of more customers and an alternate revenue stream. So there's two ways to grow their revenue: sell new logos or customers, or sell into their base of accounts. The national average is that the probability of selling into a new logo is 5 to 20%. And the probability of their current customers purchasing additional services is somewhere between 60 and 70%. So by bringing VSM into their operations, they will be able to increase their current customer spend by providing a premium service, by offering an upgrade to security and speed to voice resolution. So this will also increase their customer retention, allowing for an increase in long-term value.
What has attracted partners to the VSM platform?
So Gary, partners have flocked to VSM to enhance their managed service offerings. It's simple. So as the UC, CC, and IT networks merge, these MSPs are tasked with managing them, and it requires smarter tools to keep the systems running smoothly. So VSM helps these organizations deliver, manage, and troubleshoot by looking deeper into their UC/CC environments and proactively monitoring the overall performance and quickly identifying and resolving voice quality or capacity issues. The top reasons why these partners chose Virsae were automation and digitization. They want the service to integrate into their core service offerings, improve visibility. So they look for that deep data-driven solution that can be shared by both the MSP and they can offer it directly to the end user. Operational efficiency gains, so where they can keep headcount flat, but give more information and support to their end users. Increase more of the upfront sales with additional ARPU that can improve their margins and keep their customers longer to help drive that long-term value, resulting in higher EBITDA for them.
What else are they telling you, the partners?
So we know that the MSPs and the telcos have used SIP as the predominant technology, allowing for the cost savings and greater flexibility and access to help with their UC solutions. But what has followed are challenges trying to manage that SIP in a world where SIP issues occur regularly, you said it earlier, and hackers attack constantly, along with the competition that drives the margins and ARPU down to the basement. So what the partners want and need from VSM is a solution to help find and resolve SIP and SBC problems quickly and efficiently, drive and maintain security, and not only in today's environment, but ahead of the hackers as they evolve. But most of all, create additional revenue in their customer base and new sales through a differentiated premium service. So VSM does unlock those needs through globally applied big data, using smart analytics, giving them the insight that they need into their SBC and SIPs within the context of their overall stack of services they offer.
So let's wrap up here, and you have 3 major points you want to make.
So certainly, in today's SIP world, as part of the UC/CC environment, MSPs and telcos are busy trying to uncover and resolve the SIP SBC problems quickly as they scale their business. They have to do this while the hackers of the world attack their infrastructure 24/7 without end, all while trying to drive additional revenue and keep customers long term. They are doing this with less resources and more competition. So by using VSM, these MSPs and telcos will add more value, ensuring that their customers' demands are met with efficiency and speed. And the best part of working with VSM is that we are a low risk, simple to deploy, highly scalable, and very easy to run proof of value.
Virsae is an international organization, so as you see on the screen here, they're in the Americas, they're in Europe, they're in Asia Pacific. This is contact information and phone numbers that you should rely on to talk to Virsae. I'd like to thank you, Mike, for this EDUcast. It's very enlightening, and I hope people will tune into our next EDUcast.
Thank you for the opportunity, Gary. Appreciate it.